Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we dig into your sources, pull out those golden nuggets of knowledge, and give you the essential, fascinating analysis you really need to be well-informed.
Yeah, we synthesize the complex stuff, connect the dots for you, and hopefully help you understand not just what the facts are, but, why they actually matter.
And today, wow, we are embarking on a deep dive into the kind of place where, I guess, fantasy and sheer financial reality just collide head-on. We're talking about the sovereign microstate, the ultimate symbol of aspirational wealth, the Principality of Monaco.
Oh, the imagery is just irresistible, isn't it?
Cool.
For most people, you say Monaco, and it's just immediate shorthand for, well, unparalleled glamour. You instantly picture that harbor just packed, choked, really, with the world's biggest super yachts. You hear the sound almost of Ferraris and McLarens echoing off those cliff faces, the sheer spectacle of the Monte Carlo casino.
Right.
And, of course, that enduring mystique of the Grimaldi family legacy, forever tied to Hollywood royalty, Grace Kelly.
It's like something out of a movie, honestly. But here's the reality check, and this is where the scale of the place just gets, well, frankly, bizarre. Monaco is the world's second smallest country. It's tiny. Just a 2-square-kilometer sliver of coastline. Get this, it's smaller than Central Park in New York City.
Smaller than Central Park, yeah. It's hard to wrap your head around.
But somehow, within those 2 square kilometers, it manages to pack in the highest concentration of billionaires and millionaires per square foot anywhere on Earth. It's wild.
It really is a unique kind of sociological experiment, isn't it? A whole country basically built around this idea of exclusivity and perfection.
Yeah.
So our mission today is really to peel back that gold leaf, look beyond the glossy surface and figure out if that rarefied, hyper-expensive atmosphere is genuinely accessible to, let's say, the curious average visitor.
Can you actually get the essential Monaco experience without, literally breaking the bank?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe the multi-million-dollar question in Monaco's case.
Right, because when you hear that a standard room at one of the iconic hotels can start well over 1,000 euros a night, or that, like, a simple Coke might cost you 15 euros just for the privilege of sitting in a particular chair.
Yeah, the view tax.
Exactly. You realize the stakes are just extraordinarily high. This isn't just planning a trip. It feels more like a massive financial gamble.
Well, we've distilled all the necessary info, crunched the numbers, looked at the experiences. We're going to walk you through the whole thing.
Okay.
We'll detail the specific logistical hacks for arriving, relatively cheaply, some brilliant cheat codes for where to sleep, the must-see cultural sites that actually deliver genuine value.
And crucially,
the things you should absolutely skip to save your money and, just as importantly, your time.
Okay, good. So we're basically giving you the blueprint, the insider's guide for navigating this ultra-luxury theme park, like you actually know what you're doing.
That's the plan.
All right, let's start right at the beginning then. Getting across the border, how do you even arrive? Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the cost of arrival.
Right, the logistics. Arrival is fundamentally shaped by Monaco's geography. It's just so small, so incredibly dense, there's simply no room for a commercial international airport within its borders.
Not at all.
Which means pretty much every international traveler has to funnel through Nice-Côte d'Azur Airport. It's a huge hub over in France, maybe 30 kilometers away down the coast.
Okay, so you land in Nice, and then right away you face your first big strategic decision, which kind of defines the visit from the get-go.
Exactly. How dramatic do you want your entrance to be? Are you going pragmatic, or are you leaning full tilt into that high-roller fantasy?
Let's start with the fantasy. What's the ultimate arrival?
If you choose fantasy, you choose the helicopter. Simple as that.
Of course you do.
This is, hands down, the most Monegasque way to arrive. There are companies, Monacair, Heliair, Monaco, they offer these transfer services that just bypass all the coastal traffic completely.
It sounds like pure theater.
It absolutely is. For, let's say, roughly 160 to 200 euros per person, one way.
Okay, steep.
Steep, yeah. But you step onto this chopper, and for about 7 minutes, you get this stunning, truly cinematic view of the entire French Riviera unfolding beneath you.
Wow.
You skim over the cliffs, past those gorgeous villas clinging to the rock face in places like Cap Ferrat.
Incredible.
The whole sensory experience is amazing. The roar of the blades, the panoramic view. You feel like you're literally flying over the problems of the common person stuck in traffic below.
Huh, right.
And the service, it's designed for seamless luxury. You land at the Monaco heliport, And there's immediately a shuttle service waiting to whisk you directly to your hotel door.
So it's the ultimate story purchase, isn't it?
Totally. You arrive looking less like a slightly frazzled tourist and more like, I don't know, a high-level executive or, yeah, like you said, a Bond villain dropping in to buy the casino.
Okay, so if this is that once-in-a-lifetime trip, maybe that 200 euros is worth it just for the sheer story, the rush.
Maybe. For a very specific circumstance.
But for the rest of us mere mortals, that price point is just... It's not sustainable for arrival. We need the pragmatic choice.
And the pragmatic choice, hands down, no contest really, is the train.
The train.
The train system along this part of the Riviera is remarkably effective. It's clean, it's efficient, and it offers, I think, the best balance of scenery, time, and cost.
How does it work from Nice Airport?
It's easy. You just need to take a short bus or, now, the tram from the airport terminal to the nearest train station, which is Nice and Augustin. It's very close.
Gotcha. And the train journey itself?
It's not just a transfer. It really becomes part of the vacation experience. You're looking at a quick, maybe 25-minute coastal ride.
Nice.
And the track literally hugs the Mediterranean. You get constant, breathtaking views out the window. You glide through these picture-perfect spots like Villefranche-sur-Mer, Boudy-sur-Mer, Aise-sur-Mer. You see the coastline unfold in a way you just never would stuck in traffic on the motorway.
Okay, you're selling me on the train views. What about the cost compared to the helicopter?
Oh, the cost comparison is, frankly, hilarious.
Uh-oh.
You're talking maybe 4 or 5 euros total for the whole journey from Nice St. Augustine right into Monaco.
4 or 5 euros versus 200.
Exactly. 4 or 5 versus 200. That contrast really puts the helicopter splurge into sharp relief, doesn't it? It emphasizes that efficiency and amazing scenery don't have to be exclusive to the super wealthy here.
That's a huge difference. And what's the arrival like in Monaco by train? Is it, glamorous?
It's incredibly slick, actually. The Gare de Monaco station is this modern marvel. It was literally carved out of the solid rock face, built directly into the cliff.
Wow, into the rock.
Right into the rock. It creates this really interesting sensory transition. You arrive in the cool darkness of this subterranean station.
Okay.
And then you begin this long, almost sort of ceremonial ascent via a series of huge multi-story escalators. And these eventually deposit you, quite suddenly, out into the bright, sunlit heart of the principality.
Huh. That sounds quite dramatic in its own way.
It is. It's organized, it's seamless, and it gives you this immediate impression of efficiency and, high-tech integration, which really defines Monaco in many ways.
Okay, train sounds like the winner. But we have to address the absolute budget option, the legend, the number 100 bus. Is it true? Can you really do it for pocket change?
The legend of the number 100 bus is absolutely true. And, it is a fascinating travel experience if you're a truly dedicated budget traveler.
Okay.
The price is incredible. It used to be just €1. Even now, at maybe €1.50, it is undeniably the cheapest way to make that journey from Nice to Monaco. And it follows the historic Bassy Corniche route, the lowest coastal road.
So the views must be amazing then. Even better than the train.
Honestly, the views are unbeatable. Because you're lower down, closer to the water than the train or the main motorway. You really feel like you're winding along the coast.
There's always a but with the super cheap option.
There's a significant but. During peak season, especially summer, it becomes notoriously crowded, like sardines in a can crowded.
Oh, dear.
You will likely be standing for the entire journey, which can be an hour, maybe longer, twisting and turning, potentially a bit nauseating with luggage constantly bumping into you.
Right. Not ideal with bags. And arrival. It doesn't drop you off in that slick underground station, I assume.
Definitely not. Unlike the train, which delivers you into that pristine integrated station, the bus basically just dumps you out onto a busy street somewhere in Monaco.
Okay.
You then have to figure out how to navigate the rest of the city on foot, or maybe find the local bus network, which adds complexity, especially if you got heavy bags.
So, verdict on the bus.
It's a fantastic option if and only if you have plenty time, very little money, and maybe just a small backpack. Otherwise, for comfort, speed, general sanity, the train is the superior choice.
Got it. And just to round out the arrival logistics, the option we should probably just tell people to avoid at all costs. Taxi, Uber.
Yeah, avoid them unless money is genuinely no object whatsoever. You're easily looking at 80 to 100 euros, often more, especially if they're surge pricing.
And it's not faster.
Given the horrific coastal traffic congestion, particularly between Nice and Monaco during peak times, taking a car often gives you zero speed advantage over the train. Sometimes it's even slower,
Right.
It's just an unnecessary expense that traps you in traffic, probably looking longingly out the window at the train zipping past on the tracks above.
So the train really is the strategic winner for arrival. Clear message.
Absolutely. Smart money's on the train.
Okay. So we've arrived. Whether we floated in like a Bond villain or cleverly took the scenic train, now we face the real challenge of the principality, perhaps. Here's where it gets really interesting. Affording a place to sleep.
Ah, yes, accommodation. This is where Monaco truly leverages its, incredibly limited space and that hyper-exclusive status. The cost of just having a bed for the night is often the single most prohibitive factor for visitors.
So let's start with the fantasy again. If you are here purely for that unadulterated money-is-no-object experience, where are you looking?
Well, then you have to look at the global icons of hospitality, the legends.
And the king of them all has to be the Hotel de Paris Monte Carlo, right?
It really is. The Grand Dame. It's the historical and architectural cornerstone of Monte Carlo, positioned just imperially, right there on Casino Square. It symbolizes everything Monaco aims to be.
And the amenities are just off the charts, I assume.
Completely. You're talking multiple Michelin-starred restaurants, like Le Louis XV, private access to the Monte Carlo Beach Club, and that absolutely legendary wine cellar.
Tell me about the cellar. I heard it's incredible.
Oh, it's often overlooked, but it's practically a historical site in itself. It's not just a big room. It's this entire subterranean labyrinth carved deep into the rock beneath the hotel. Houses something like 500,000 bottles.
500,000. Wow.
And there are incredible stories attached to it, like how the staff walled off sections with priceless vintages during World War II to hide them from occupying forces. It's amazing.
So it's more than just storage. It's like a vault of cultural history, too.
Exactly. Viticultural history, Monegasque history, it's all down there. But naturally, this level of historical significance and modern opulence comes with a price tag.
Let me guess. Eye-watering.
Starting well above €1,000 a night for a standard room.
Ouch.
And if you want one of the legendary suites overlooking Casino Square itself, or, and this is crucial for someone that gives you a balcony view of that famous Formula One hairpin turn,
The Fairmont hairpin, yeah.
then the price just skyrockets exponentially. We're talking many, many thousands per night.
Okay. And there are others in that league, too, right? The Hermitage, the Metropole.
Absolutely. The Hermitage, the Metropole.
Yeah.
They offer similarly staggering, spectacular levels of luxury. This is truly the realm of the high roller, the non-negotiable dream stay, if you can afford it.
But let's pivot. Let's turn our attention to the smart traveler. The person listening who wants to soak up all that glamour during the day, but needs to keep a lid on the budget overnight. What is the brilliant hack? Is there one?
There absolutely is a brilliant hack, and it's the cornerstone of affordable Monaco travel, really. It boils down to simply recognizing how incredibly tiny the country is.
Okay.
Since you can literally walk across the entire principality in under an hour.
Right.
You don't actually need to sleep in Monaco.
Yeah.
You exploit the geography. You stay one street outside the border in France.
So neighboring France. Which town are we talking about?
We are talking about the French town of Beausoleil.
Beausoleil. Okay, I've heard of it. It basically blends right into Monaco, doesn't it?
It's intrinsically linked. It literally spills over the border. In some areas, you can cross from Monaco into France just by crossing the street. Physically, it's almost indistinguishable from Monte Carlo in parts.
So what's the price difference like in Beausoleil?
It's dramatic.
In Beausoleil, you can find pleasant, often quite high-quality hotels or certainly Airbnbs for maybe 150 to 250 euros a night, sometimes even less in the off-season.
Okay, 150 to 250.
Sure.
Compare that to the Monaco prices again.
Compare that to the 800 plus euros you might pay for a similar standard hotel just a couple of hundred meters away across that invisible borderline. The savings are just massive.
That is a huge difference. But I have to challenge this slightly because someone listening might think, okay, I save money, but am I sacrificing the atmosphere? Is Beausoleil charming? Does staying there kind of break the Monaco illusion?
That's a really fair challenge. And look, Beausoleil is French, so it does have a slightly more, let's say, relaxed, maybe less obsessively polished street-level feel than Monaco proper.
Okay.
But it's still a very pleasant French Riviera town. It definitely retains the general quality and aesthetic of the region. And crucially, the access is immediate. It's not like some inconvenient commute.
You mentioned public stairs before. How does that actually work? Is it easy to get down into Monaco? Yeah, it's surprisingly easy. There are numerous public ascensors, elevators, and also just straightforward stairways built right into the hillsides. These connect the upper levels of Beausoleil directly down into the heart of Monte Carlo.
So how long a walk are we talking?
Depending on exactly where your hotel in Beausoleil is, you could walk from your, say, €200 hotel room right into Casino Square in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Seriously.
5 to 10 minutes of walking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the illusion, if you want to call it that, holds perfectly well because you're literally crossing the border in the time it takes to, I don't know, brew a cup of coffee.
Okay, that's genuinely a game changer then. You get all the prestige, you can walk among the supercars, have a fancy drink at the Hotel de Paris bar if you want, go to the events.
Everything.
But your actual accommodation cost is slashed. It's maximizing that access while minimizing the overhead. That's clever.
And that strategic thinking is really key to experiencing Monaco smartly. You could also, of course, use Nice itself, or maybe the town of Capdale, which is even closer, as a base, and just leverage that efficient 25-minute train ride each day.
Turning Monaco into the ultimate glamorous day trip.
Exactly. That works perfectly well, too, for the budget-conscious traveler.
Now, what if someone insists they really want to stay inside the Principality's borders, but maybe can't stretch to the Hotel de Paris level? Are there any, well, mid-range options, understanding that mid-range in Monaco is still probably eye-watering elsewhere?
It is. Mid-range is very relative here.
Mm.
But yes, there are a couple of notable options. One of the most famous, though not one of the historic grand dames, is the Fairmont Monte Carlo.
Ah, the one over the hairpin turn.
Precisely. It's a massive hotel, sometimes described as feeling a bit more corporate, perhaps, than the historic ones.
Right.
But its location is absolutely unique. It's built on these huge concrete pilings directly over the Mediterranean Sea.
Incredible engineering.
And it physically incorporates the most famous, slowest, tightest corner in all of motorsports.
The Grand Prix hairpin turn. Legendary.
The Fairmont hairpin, yeah. During the F1 race weekend, rooms with a view of that turn are some of the most coveted and astronomically expensive pieces of real estate in the world.
But outside of race week.
Outside of race week, especially in the off-season, you might sometimes find rooms there in the, say, €400 to €500 range per night. So very expensive, obviously, but significantly cheaper than its neighbors on Casino Square.
Okay, so maybe achievable for a special occasion.
Yeah.
Any others?
There's also the Columbus Hotel. It's located in the Fontville district.
Fontville. That's the area built on reclaimed land, right?
Exactly. It's a fascinating part of Monaco, entirely built on land reclaimed from the sea, mostly during the 1970s and 80s. The Columbus is more contemporary, quite modern in style. It's a bit removed from the immediate casino madness, which some people prefer. Has great views of the smaller, quieter Fontville harbor.
And didn't an F1 driver have something to do with it?
Yeah, it was co-founded by the former Formula One driver David Coulthard. So it has this kind of contemporary, maybe slightly sporty, upscale vibe. It probably represents the best chance for a slightly more affordable stay within Monaco itself. But again, remember that affordable here is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Understood. So the accommodation verdict seems pretty clear. Beausoleil is the brilliant insider's hack, the smart move. But the temptation of splurging on the Hotel de Paris? Well, that remains the ultimate financially devastating dream.
That sums it up perfectly.
Okay, let's move to the next high-stakes element, fueling up. We need to talk about the food scene, and specifically the culinary extremes.
Just like the hotels, yeah, the dining scene is defined by these staggering peaks and actually some surprising valleys of affordability if you know where to look.
Let's start at the absolute pinnacle again. Where are we eating if cost is no issue?
Then we return, once again, to the Hotel de Paris.
To le Louis de Kepsef Alain Ducasse à l'Hôtel de Paris.
The triple Michelin star legend. It is. And dining there isn't just about eating. It's this immersive, almost theatrical experience. The dining room itself looks like a miniature, perfectly restored wing of the Palace of Versailles. It's breathtakingly ornate.
Wow. And the food philosophy, what makes it 3 stars?
Ducasse's approach here is hyper-focused on the Mediterranean Riviera. It's all about taking the absolute freshest, highest quality local ingredients from the Riviera, from nearby Liguria in Italy, and elevating them through technique. But often with a deceptive simplicity. It's about perfect execution.
And the service must be impeccable.
Oh, it's balletic. It's designed to anticipate your every need before you even realize you have it. It's part of the performance.
Okay, brace me for the price tag for this performance.
You're looking at close to €400 per person, just for the tasting menu. And that's before you even glance at the wine list.
Which probably includes bottles costing more than my car.
Which contains some of the rarest, most expensive vintages on earth.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's an evening designed to be utterly unforgettable and also to gently remind you exactly where you are.
Right. And Monaco has a crazy density of other high-end places too, doesn't it?
Remarkable density for its size. You've got Yoshi for spectacular high-end Japanese, Pavillon from another top chef, Yannick Ayeno doing modern French. If you are wealthy, finding an extraordinary expensive meal in Monaco is trivially easy.
But the key to our deep dive, as always, is finding the local heartbeat. Where do the actual people who live and work in Monaco eat? Where can we find authentic, affordable food that tells a bit of the region's story?
Right. And for that, the answer is absolutely non-negotiable. You must go to the Condamine market, the Marché de la Condamine.
Okay, the Condamine market. Tell me about it.
This is the indispensable destination for local, affordable food. And beyond just food, it really feels like the true social beating heart of Monaco. It's where normal life happens.
Describe the atmosphere for us. I'm picturing it's a world away from the hushed marble halls of the casino or Le Outing.
Oh, a total contrast. And gloriously so. It's this beautiful, historic, covered market square. In the mornings, it operates as a traditional provincial market stalls, piled high with fresh produce, flowers, olives, regional cheeses, you know the type.
Lovely.
But the real magic, especially around lunchtime, happens in the food hall set up inside. There are all these little stalls, small eateries serving hot food with shared tables in the middle. It's loud, it's vibrant, it smells amazing, and it feels completely real.
Okay, this sounds promising. And this is where we find the single most important culinary target for any visitor who wants to feel like they've actually experienced Monaco.
Yes, absolutely. You must try barbajuan.
Barbajuan. Okay, spell that out for us.
Barbajuan. Barbajuan. It's officially the national dish of Monaco. Trying one is essential for the cultural experience.
What is it exactly?
It's a small, typically deep-fried pastry or fritter. Looks quite simple, but the filling is deeply regional and really fascinating. Traditionally, it's stuffed with Swiss chard, maybe some spinach, and ricotta cheese, sometimes other greens or rice.
Swiss chard. Interesting. What's the story behind it? Why chard?
Well, its history is wonderfully humble. It originated as a peasant dish, basically, from the days when rural Monegasques, often farming on the steep hillsides, would use whatever seasonal vegetables were readily available. And chard grows prolifically there.
Makes sense.
So they'd chop it up, mix it with a bit of cheese or whatever else they had, encase it in a simple dough, and fry it. Created a hearty, cheap, and importantly, easily portable meal or snack.
And today, you can just grab one at the market.
Exactly. You can grab one, usually served hot, wonderfully crispy on the outside, savory inside for just a couple of euros, maybe €2 or €3 each.
That's amazing. A national dish for pocket change. It probably tells you more about Monegasque history than a €50 appetizer somewhere fancy.
Without a doubt, it connects you to the real roots of the place.
What does it taste like specifically? Is it good?
It's delicious. But the taste might be unexpected if you're only used to sweet pastries. It's savory, definitely. Earthy from the chard, but that's balanced really nicely by the creamy, slightly salty ricotta. And then you get the satisfying crunch and slight nuttiness from the fried dough. It's a fantastic street snack.
Okay, barbajuan is officially on the must-try list. What else should people look for at the Condamine market to get that authentic, affordable taste?
Definitely look for saka. You see this in Nicio, too. It's a regional specialty.
Saka, right. The chickpea pancake thing.
Exactly. It's this huge, thin pancake made purely from chickpea flour and water, baked in a giant, shallow copper pan, often in a wood-fired oven, usually seasoned heavily with black pepper. It comes out crispy on the edges, still kind of creamy inside. They cut it into rough pieces and sell it by weight or by the slice. Very cheap, very filling, very local.
Sounds good. Anything else?
You can also find good versions of pissaladière, which is sort of like a Provençal onion tart or pizza without tomato. It's got a bread dough base topped with heaps of slowly caramelized onions, anchovies, and black olives. Savory, salty, delicious.
Okay, so between barbajuan, soca, pissaladière, maybe some fresh pasta from one of the stalls, you can have a really great, authentic lunch at the market.
Absolutely. A fantastic, satisfying, genuinely local lunch at the Condamine market can easily be yours for, say, 15 to 20 euros total.
Yeah.
It's the best value food experience in Monaco, bar none.
That's brilliant. So that sorts out lunch spectacularly. Now, what about dinner? If we're avoiding the Ducasse-level price tags but maybe want something more substantial than market snacks, what's the strategy?
The golden rule of distance applies again. You need to move away from the absolute epicenter of Casino Square.
Okay. Where to?
Head down towards the areas around Port Hercule. That's the main harbor, the big one with all the super yachts.
Right.
Down there, you'll find more brasseries, slightly more informal restaurants, places that primarily cater to, well, the huge number of people working on those yachts, the crew, and also local residents who, quite frankly, cannot afford the Louis that kicks fifth every night either.
So places serving more, dare I say, normal food at slightly less terrifying prices.
Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still Monaco. Expect to pay a premium compared to France or Italy. A decent pizza might still be 20, maybe 22 euros. A simple plate of pasta could easily hit 25 euros.
Okay, so not cheap, but manageable.
Manageable, exactly. Especially when you compare it to the price points just a few hundred meters away up the hill near the casino. Decent, manageable options exist if you know where to look, primarily around the port.
Good tip. And that leads us perfectly to that crucial piece of advice about beverage costs. The coffee example really reveals the psychology of pricing in Monaco, doesn't it?
Oh, it absolutely does. The Monaco tax, as you called it, is most clearly illustrated by the simple price of a coffee. If you walk into a typical cafe or bar and you stand at the counter, stand at the bar like the locals often do in Italy, drink your espresso quickly and move on.
Right, the quick Italian way.
That espresso will probably cost you maybe 2 or 3 euros.
Okay, perfectly reasonable. Standard European price.
Perfectly reasonable. But if you take that exact same espresso, walk maybe 3 feet away, and sit down at one of those perfectly arranged little tables outside on the terrace.
Especially if it has a nice view.
Especially if it offers any kind of view or allows for prime people watching, particularly near Casino Square. That cost can immediately triple or quadruple. It jumps to 8, 10, maybe even 12 euros for the same coffee.
Wow. That's blatant.
It's blatant, but it's understood. You are not paying primarily for the beverage at that point. You are paying for the real estate, for the square meterage your chair occupies, for the table service, and mostly for the privilege of sitting in that specific high-value location.
So the rule here is stand like an Italian to save money, sit like a tourist to pay for the view.
Pretty much. Choose wisely. And just recognize that anytime you sit down, especially with any kind of view in Monte Carlo, you are implicitly agreeing to pay a significant premium for the atmosphere and the location.
It's not about the coffee, it's about the experience of sitting there having the coffee.
Precisely. Once you internalize that rule, you can navigate all those little incidental costs, coffees, cokes, ice creams, much more intelligently, and avoid unpleasant surprises on your bill.
Excellent practical advice. Okay, we've arrived. We know where to sleep, probably in France, and we know how to eat without needing a second mortgage. Hello, condominium market. Let's move on to the activities. What do you actually do in Monaco? We need to separate the truly iconic must-sees from the potential tourist traps.
Definitely. And we have to start with the absolute icon, the Temple of Fortune itself, the Monte Carlo Casino.
The Casino de Monte Carlo, is it as stunning in real life as it looks in photos?
It genuinely is. It's an absolute architectural marvel of the Belle Epoque era, designed by Charles Garnier.
You mentioned him before.
Yeah, the very same architect who designed the magnificent Paris Opera Garnier. And you can see the resemblance in the opulence. It's pure, unadulterated fantasy, just designed to dazzle you, dripping with frescoes, intricate sculptures, marble, gold leaf everywhere. It's overwhelming.
And it's more than just a casino, isn't it? It has real historical significance for Monaco itself.
Absolutely critical significance. Its creation back in the mid-19th century literally saved the ruling Grimaldi family from bankruptcy. The revenues from the casino allowed the principality to abolish income tax for its residents, a policy which, remarkably, continues to this day and is fundamental to Monaco's appeal for the wealthy.
Wow. So it basically funded the modern state. Can average visitors go inside, or is it just for serious gamblers?
That's a common misconception. Yes, you absolutely can go inside. Many visitors assume it's only for high rollers, but you can, and maybe should, treat the public areas more like a historical museum or an architectural tour.
Is there an entry fee?
Yes, there's an entry fee, typically around 17 or 18 euros, just to get into the main gaming rooms. And you absolutely must bring your passport. They check everyone.
Why the passport check?
Because, crucially, Monegasque citizens themselves are strictly forbidden from gambling in their own country's casinos.
Really? That's fascinating.
Yeah, that's a long-standing point of national pride and official policy, originally intended to protect the local populace from the potential harms of gambling. So they need to verify you're not a local.
Okay, passport required. What about the dress code? I hear they're serious about it, not like Vegas where anything goes.
Oh, extremely serious. This is not casual Vegas tourism. Forget shorts, forget athletic wear, definitely no sneakers or flip-flops. It's smart, elegant attire, always.
Even during the day.
Even during the day. And if you want access to the more exclusive salons privés, the private high-stakes gaming rooms, particularly in the evening, they strictly require gentlemen to wear a jacket, Ties are often encouraged too. It absolutely enforces this air of seriousness, prestige, and old-world formality that's pretty much unmatched in the gambling world today.
Okay, so dress up. Once you're inside, what's the vibe like? Is it buzzing and noisy?
Actually, it's often quieter than you might expect, especially in the main rooms like the Cell Europe. The atmosphere is quite intense, very focused, almost hushed sometimes. It's dominated by the serious click-clack of the roulette wheels, the quiet murmur of high-stakes conversation in multiple languages. It feels important.
So what's the key advice for a visitor who isn't a big gambler?
Our advice is pay the entry fee. Consider it an architectural tour fee. Go in, wander through the stunning main halls, admire the unbelievable decor, soak up that unique atmosphere. Unless you're planning to engage in serious high-stakes gambling, the real value is in observing the spectacle, the history, the building itself, not necessarily playing the slot machines near the entrance.
Good approach. Treat it like a museum visit. Any rules to be aware of inside?
The crucial one. Photography is strictly forbidden inside any of the actual gaming rooms. You can usually take pictures in the grand atrium or entrance hall, but once you pass into the areas with tables or machines, put the phone away. They are very strict about that.
Got it. No photos of people losing their shirts. Okay, from the Temple of Fortune down in Monte Carlo, let's head up the hill, up to the rock, Monacoville, the older part of town, to the seat of power. The Prince's Palace of Monaco.
Right, the Palais Princier. This is the official residence of the ruling Prince Albert II and the Grimaldi family. It's perched right up there on the dramatic cliff face overlooking the main harbor.
Can you go inside the palace?
Parts of it, yes. The state apartments are usually open for public tours, but typically only during the summer months, roughly April to October. You need to check the specific dates.
And the tour itself, worth doing.
It's historically significant, absolutely. You get to see some grand rooms, historical artifacts related to the Grimaldi dynasty, which has ruled Monaco for over 700 years. But it's important to manage expectations here. It's a smaller, more intimate royal residence compared to, say, Buckingham Palace or Versailles or Schönbrunn in Vienna. Don't expect endless sprawling wings.
Okay, so maybe the tour is secondary to the real public draw up there, which
is the changing of the guard ceremony, the relève de la garde.
Right. When does that happen?
It takes place every single day with military precision at 11:55 a.m. sharp, right in the main palace square, the Place du Palais, in front of the entrance.
And who performs it?
It's performed by the Compagnie des Carabiniers du Prince, the Prince's Guard. They're known for their rather spectacular uniforms, especially the white ones in summer, and their very crisp, precise drill movements.
Is it popular? Do you need to get there early?
Extremely popular, yes. It draws a big crowd. You absolutely must arrive maybe 15 or 20 minutes early, so 11:35 or 11:40 a.m. if you want to secure a decent viewing spot around the edge of the square. It gets packed.
Tell us a bit more about the Carabiniers themselves. Their role is quite unique, isn't it?
It is. They're an elite military unit responsible not just for guarding the palace, but also for the prince's personal security and other ceremonial duties. The ceremony itself is a testament to that military precision. It's a very formal ritual, usually involving drums, synchronized commands, marching. It's quite theatrical.
How long does it last?
It's surprisingly quick, actually. The whole thing's usually over in about 5 minutes. It's crisp, it's ceremonial. It's worth seeing if you're up there at the right time. But maybe don't base your entire morning schedule solely around it.
Okay, good perspective. 5 minutes of pomp. But for our money, maybe the greatest reward for making the climb up to the rock, up to Monacoville, is completely free anyway.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. The panoramic views you get from the edges of the palace square and from the viewpoints nearby are simply priceless. They are staggering.
What do you see from up there?
You get that incredible sweeping vantage point looking down over Port Hercule, jammed with those enormous yachts. You see the dense cityscape of Monte Carlo and La Condamine packed onto the hillsides. You see the vast expanse of the Mediterranean stretching out forever. You can often see clear across to the Italian coast on a good day. It's phenomenal.
Seeing both harbors spread out beneath you.
Exactly. That view, that perspective, is the true, universally accessible value of making the trip up to the old town. Worth the walk alone.
And while you were up there on the rock, there is one specific attraction that seems to consistently receive universal praise in all our research. It's flagged as genuinely world-class, not just a tourist stop.
Ah, yes. You must be talking about the Musée Océanographique. the Oceanographic Museum.
That's the one! Is it really that good?
It is absolutely that good. This is a non-negotiable must-do for almost any visitor to Monaco, I would argue.
Yeah.
It is genuinely one of the world's oldest and most impressive marine science institutions.
And it has an amazing history, right? Connected to Jacques Cousteau.
An incredible legacy. It was founded by Prince Albert III, who was a keen oceanographer himself back in 1910. But yes, its modern fame is inextricably linked to the legendary underwater explorer Jacques Cousteau. He was the director of the museum for over 30 years, from 1957 until the late 80s.
Wow, 30 years. He must have shaped it significantly.
Hugely. Cousteau's influence turned it into a pioneering center for marine research, conservation, and public education. He really focused its efforts on understanding and protecting Mediterranean ecosystems, long before that was fashionable. His spirit still permeates the place.
And the building itself is meant to be spectacular, too.
The architecture alone is almost worth the price of admission. It's this massive Baroque revival building constructed literally into the sheer cliff face, appearing to dramatically hang right over the Mediterranean Sea. It's an engineering marvel.
Okay, impressive building, impressive history. What about inside? What are the collections like? What makes it so special for visitors?
Inside, the collections are broadly divided and offer something for pretty much every interest level. The lower levels, down in the basement essentially, house a magnificent modern aquarium.
What kind of aquarium?
It includes a huge shark lagoon that you can view from multiple levels, highly detailed tanks, showcasing the specific biodiversity of the Mediterranean Sea, which is fascinating to see up close, and also sections dedicated to tropical coral reefs with vibrant fish. It's very well done.
Okay, aquarium is good, but you said there's more.
Yes, because the upper floors. This is where the historical magic really lies, I think. It houses not just exhibits about oceanography and Cousteau's legacy, but also this magnificent, old-school cabinet of curiosities type collection.
Ooh, a cabinet of curiosities. Tell me more about that.
It's spectacular. It feels like stepping back in time. It contains huge preserved marine specimens, giant squid, massive fish, enormous whale skeletons suspended dramatically from the high ceilings, incredible collections of antique diving equipment like old brass helmets, historical scientific instruments from early oceanographic expeditions,
Wow.
plus collections of marine fossils, preserved corals, artifacts recovered from the sea. It's just this incredibly rich journey through the history of humanity's exploration and understanding of the deep ocean. It's fascinating.
That sounds genuinely amazing. What's the cost for entry?
Admission is usually around 18 euros for an adult, which,
Sure.
considering the quality, the history, the sheer scale of the place, and how long you can easily spend there, it provides exceptional value and depth. Highly recommended.
Okay, the Oceanographic Museum is officially the one activity we fully endorse budgeting both time and money for. Seems like a guaranteed winner.
I think so. It rarely disappoints.
All right, let's pivot now. From deep-sea history to high-octane spectacle, let's talk about the completely free thrill, walking the Formula One circuit.
Yes. This is brilliant. For racing fans, obviously, it's a pilgrimage. But honestly, even if you know nothing about F1, walking the track is probably the most visceral, engaging way to understand the sheer madness and skill involved in the Monaco Grand Prix. And yes, it costs absolutely nothing.
Because it's not a purpose-built track, right? It's
Listen.
just the city streets.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The Circuit de Monaco is the normal, everyday streets of Monte Carlo and the Condamine, which means, provided they aren't actively setting up the barriers and grandstands for the race itself, which happens for a few weeks in late spring.
Which you can check online easily.
You can just walk the entire 3.3-kilometer circuit. You can physically place yourself on the exact pieces of tarmac where the greatest drivers in the world navigate these narrow streets at absolutely insane speeds.
Where are the key points people should look out for?
Well, you can start the start-finish line on the main straight by the harbor, then walk down towards the very tight uphill right-hander of Saint-Devote Corner, where so many races have seen first-lap chaos. You can climb up the hill Beau Rivage towards the famous Casino Square, physically stand on the spot where the cars sweep past that iconic building, feeling the slight gradient changes they bounce over.
That must be cool.
It is. But maybe the most profound experience, the one everyone talks about, is walking through the tunnel.
Ah, the tunnel section. Tell us about walking through that.
It's fantastic and slightly eerie. The long, fast, sweeping right-hand curve through the Mirabeau Tunnel under the Fairmont Hotel. It's notorious in racing for its specific challenges.
Like what?
Well, during the race, drivers transition instantly from the bright Riviera sunlight into sudden, relative darkness inside the tunnel. And the track surface underneath often has less grip because the sun doesn't hit it to help rubber build up or burn off moisture. Walking through it, you really experience that dramatic change in light and sound.
And the sound inside.
Your footsteps echo. It gives you this almost unnerving sense of the scale of the structure. And you can't help but imagine the sheer violence and noise when 20 Formula One cars are blasting through there at speeds well over 250, maybe close to 300 kilometers per hour. It's mind-boggling.
Gives you chills just thinking about it. What about after the tunnel?
Then you emerge back into the sunlight down by the harbor, near the Nouvelle Chicane. You can walk the whole harbor section past the famous Tabac Corner right next to the yachts. You can see the swimming pool complex Piscine where the track flicks left, then right around, well, swimming pool.
Literally around a pool.
Literally. And then you reach the final complex section, including the famous tight double apex corner right by the old Rosgas bar before heading back onto the main straight.
So walking it really gives you an appreciation for the driver's skill.
A profound, immediate appreciation. You realize just how narrow, how bumpy, how unforgiving those streets are. There is zero margin for error. It transforms the city from just a collection of expensive buildings into this incredible living monument to motorsport skill and bravery.
And it's completely free, an immersive, intellectual, thrilling experience for €0. That makes it an absolute must-do.
Absolutely. Can't recommend it highly enough.
Okay, great. Now let's talk briefly about managing expectations when it comes to perhaps more traditional natural beauty elements, specifically the beaches and the gardens. What's the deal with Larvado Beach?
Right. Larvado Beach is the main public beach in Monaco. And look, it's pleasant, it's clean, it's very well maintained. They even have jellyfish nets out in the summer. It's perfectly fine for a dip. But it is fundamentally a man-made city beach.
Ah, good point. We need to remember that huge parts of Monaco's flatland, especially the Larvado area and the entire Fontvale district we mentioned earlier, are the result of massive land reclamation projects over the decades. They literally built outwards into the sea.
Exactly. Which means the sand on Larvado isn't really soft, natural sand. It's often imported sand or sometimes feels more like very fine, rounded gravel. Comfortable enough to walk on, but maybe not the powdery white stuff you dream of.
And the water quality.
The water is generally very clean, yes. The Mediterranean here is beautiful. But you have free public sections, which are perfectly adequate for cooling off. But then you also have the private beach clubs lining the sand.
Where you pay the Monaco premium again.
Oh, yes. If you want a sun lounger and an umbrella at one of those private clubs, you're easily looking at 40 to 50 euros, maybe more, just for the day.
So the verdict on Larvado?
It's fine. It's a decent city beach, but it's probably not the pristine, secluded Mediterranean cove experience you might get elsewhere on the Riviera. It's not the primary reason you'd choose to visit Monaco.
Fair enough. Manage expectations. What about the Jardin Exotique, the famous exotic garden with those amazing views?
Ah, the Jardin Exotique. When it's open, it is stunning. It's this unique botanical garden specializing in succulents and cacti from around the world, all clinging dramatically to a steep cliff face. And yes, the panoramic views from up there are absolutely incredible, definitely competing with the views from the Palace Rock.
When it's open, there's a catch.
There is a major catch, and it's a critical warning for anyone planning a trip. The Jardin Exotique has been undergoing very extensive long-term renovations and has been closed to the public for a significant period.
Still closed now.
The reopening date has been pushed back multiple times. It was originally scheduled for sometime in 2023, then maybe 2024. Honestly, you absolutely must check the current official status right before your visit if you're hoping to go there. Don't just assume it will be open.
Okay, crucial warning. Check the Jardin Exotique status. If it is closed, is there a decent alternative for a nice garden stroll with views?
Yes, thankfully. The St. Martin Gardens, Les Jardins Saint-Martin, are located up on the rock, very close to the Oceanographic Museum.
Okay.
They are beautiful, very well-maintained public gardens winding along the cliff edge. They offer equally gorgeous, though slightly different angled cliffside views out over the sea towards Fontvieille. And they are completely free to enter. A lovely spot for a peaceful walk.
Good to know. St. Martin Gardens as a free, reliable alternative. Okay, we've covered the essential activities, the must-sees, the warnings. Now let's move into something equally important for a place like Monaco, the strategic skip list. Where time and money are so precious, maximizing value means being ruthless about what you choose to avoid.
Yes, the skip list. This is essential knowledge to feel like you're navigating Monaco smartly, like an insider, not just a bewildered tourist hemorrhaging cash.
Okay, what's first on the official don't bother list?
First up, we strongly advise skipping any dedicated time for high-end designer shopping. Specifically, the area immediately around Casino Square, often dubbed the Golden Circle.
Right, this is where you find the flagship stores for Chanel, Dior, Gucci, Earrings, all lined up like these incredibly glossy, intimidating museum exhibits.
Exactly. And unless you are genuinely planning to go in and make a significant purchase you actually intend to buy that €5,000 handbag, this is mostly wasted time for the average visitor.
Why skip it?
Because it truly functions more as a museum of things you likely can't afford. The brands are global. You can find them in any major city, often with a better selection and potentially better service in places like Paris, London, or Milan. There's nothing uniquely Monegasque about them, except maybe the sheer concentration.
So window shop for 5 minutes if you must, but don't dedicate precious hours to it.
Precisely. Admire the window displays, watch the incredibly wealthy clientele drift in and out if that interests you, but then move on. Don't let it consume a significant chunk of your limited time in Monaco.
Okay, skip the Goldie Circle shopping. What's next on the skip list? This one might be painful for some.
Yes, the second big skip. And it relates directly back to that price psychology we discussed with the coffee.
I know where you're going.
Avoid eating, or especially just having casual drinks right on Casino Square itself, particularly at those famous, highly visible terraces like the Café de Paris.
But the people watching there is legendary. The parade of supercars, the beautifully dressed crowds.
The people watching is undeniably fantastic. It's ground zero for observing the Monaco spectacle. However, this is also ground zero for the absolute peak Monaco tourist tax.
We're back to that €12 coffee, the €20 ice cream, the incredibly inflated lunch prices.
Exactly. You are paying the ultimate absolute premium purely for the location, for sitting in that specific chair on that specific square.
So what's the smart strategy here?
Our strong advice is definitely walk through Casino Square. Take your photos of the incredible casino building, the Hotel de Paris, soak up the atmosphere, watch the cars for 10 minutes, enjoy the free show. But then, literally walk 5 minutes away. Head down one of the side streets or walk back down towards the Port Hercule area we mentioned for dinner. Go find your coffee, your drink, your lunch there. You can easily have your expenditure for essentially the same quality of product and service just by moving slightly away from the absolute tourist epicenter.
Walk 5 minutes, save 50%. Seems like a no-brainer.
It really should be. Don't get caught in the Casino Square price trap for basic refreshments.
Okay, good practical skip. Now, I have to reiterate my slightly more controversial entry onto the skip list, something we touched on with accommodation.
Ah, yes, your argument against staying overnight for certain travelers.
Yes. For the average budget-conscious visitor, the person using the Beausoleil hack, perhaps I'd argue you should strongly consider skipping staying overnight in the immediate Monaco Beausoleil area altogether. Treat it as a day trip.
Okay, I acknowledged the logic earlier, making it a fantastic day trip, but let me push back slightly again. For whom is the night worth the splurge, in your view? When does staying make sense?
I think staying overnight makes sense, and the cost becomes justifiable if you are actively planning to participate in the specific high-end nightlife that Monaco offers. Meaning, if you are intending to gamble serious money at the casino late into the night, or if you're planning to spend several €100 per person to get into one of the ultra-exclusive nightclubs like Jimmy's or Twiga and party until 4 a.m. with the jet set, that's when being based right there has a clear advantage and the energy might justify the cost.
Right, if you're engaging with that side of Monaco. But if you're not, if you're mainly there for the history, the views, the F1 track walk, the museum,
then I think the city changes quite dramatically after the main wave of day trippers leaves in the early evening. Many areas can feel surprisingly quiet, almost deserted. A lot of the more normal shops and cafes might shut down relatively early.
Interesting point. It lacks that bustling evening life of, say, a Spanish or Italian city.
Exactly. Unless you were actively participating in that very specific, very expensive top-tier nightlife scene, the significant cost of the hotel room, even using the Beausoleil hack, which still requires paying for accommodation near Monaco, perhaps doesn't deliver sufficient extra value over just having a really long, full, efficient day trip from Nice using the train.
So you're saying maximize the daylight hours, see everything, then retreat.
For the value-conscious traveler who isn't hitting the super clubs, yes. Monaco, arguably, is a place best experienced when it's fully switched on with activity during the day. The cost benefit of staying overnight diminishes if you're not partaking in the specific nighttime offerings.
That's a really crucial distinction for people planning their trip. Maximum value might indeed be achieved via a long, well-structured day trip, using that convenient train for the commute. Less romantic, perhaps, but financially much savvier for many.
That's my take. Okay, that brings us towards the end, to the final vibe check. We've established the prices, the clever hacks, the must-sees, the crucial skips. So putting it all together, what does this all mean for the traveler? What is the actual overall atmosphere, the feel of Monaco?
I think the single most dominant characteristic you feel on the ground is this intense sense of control and order. It is immaculate. Spotlessly clean everywhere. You simply will not see litter on the streets. The landscaping is perfect, and the security is, well, pervasive. There are cameras everywhere, discreet but present. And there's a very constant visible police presence, the Sûreté Publique. They are numerous and noticeable.
Which contributes to it being incredibly safe, right?
Empirically, yes. It's consistently ranked as one of the safest places on Earth in terms of street crime or personal safety risk. It's a very low risk, highly structured, highly monitored environment.
Okay, that sounds positive. But I want to challenge your earlier assessment of this vibe slightly. You mentioned before that this perfection risks feeling sterile. Couldn't one argue that the intense order and the absolute safety is precisely the charm for many? That this sense of total, curated perfection is exactly what the ultra-wealthy residents and high-end visitors are paying for. Isn't that the point?
That is a very, very valid point. And you're right. For the person resident or visitor who prioritizes security, predictability, privacy, and pristine surroundings above absolutely everything else, then yes, the extreme orderliness is the defining positive feature. It's a powerful draw and part of the core product Monaco offers.
Okay.
However, for a traveler who is perhaps more accustomed to, or maybe even enjoys, the slightly rough-and-tumble beauty and energy of older, more organically developed European cities.
Like the charming chaos of Rome or the vibrant, sometimes gritty, lived-in feel of nearby Nice.
Exactly. Compared to those places, Monaco can feel curiously sanitized. Almost like it lacks a certain spontaneous street life, that unpredictable energy. It can sometimes feel less like a living, breathing, evolving urban center.
And more like.
And more like a perfectly designed, meticulously maintained, hyper-secure theme park, created primarily for the ultra-wealthy.
A theme park for billionaires.
In some ways, yes. Which leads to the role of the average visitor. You have to accept that, for the most part, you are fundamentally a spectator.
A spectator, explain that.
You are there primarily to observe the spectacle that unfolds around you. The parade of unbelievable supercars constantly cruising Casino Square, the flotilla of gigantic superyachts in the harbor, the high-fashion displays walking down the street, the quiet intensity of the high-stakes gambling. You're essentially looking at someone else's gilded life, often through a metaphorical velvet rope.
That's a really interesting way to put it. You're watching the show.
Okay.
So, given all of this, the potentially prohibitive costs, the necessary travel hacks, this unique, ordered, spectator-focused atmosphere, let's get to the final verdict. Is the glamorous gamble of Monaco actually worth it for the average person?
We land, I think, squarely on a qualified yes.
Qualified.
A qualified yes. It absolutely is a spectacular, eye-opening, and culturally unique place that really does deserve a visit at some point if you're interested in this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the value proposition, the return on investment for the average traveler, is really only met if you treat it smartly.
Yeah.
Which means, for most people, treating it as a spectacular, comprehensive, well-planned day trip from a cheaper, nearby base, likely, not possibly Beau Soleil, if you find a good deal there for a night or two to explore the wider area.
Because the cost of actually staying in Monaco and eating all your meals there for multiple days.
It simply does not provide enough additional depth or unique experiential value to justify the truly enormous expense in our assessment. The return on your time and money is maximized by that strategic full-day utilization. Hit it hard, see the key things, then retreat.
So you have to be disciplined. You have to do the homework we've talked about.
Absolutely. You must plan ahead. Know you're going to walk the F1 track.
Yeah.
Prioritize the world-class oceanographic museum. Make a point of finding the condomy market and trying that authentic barberon. Utilize the price hacks, like standing for coffee or avoiding Casino Square for lunch.
Be a smart visitor, not just a passive one. And again, just to be clear, We maintain the exceptions to this day trip is best rule. This trip is unequivocally worth the full indulgent splurge if you clearly fit into one of three specific categories.
Right, category 1.
First, you are a massive, die-hard Formula One fan, or perhaps a huge James Bond enthusiast. For you, the physical immersion into those iconic locations, standing on the hairpin, walking through the tunnels, seeing the casino in person, provides an undeniable, almost priceless thrill that transcends normal cost-benefit analysis.
Fair enough. F1 pilgrimage site, category 2.
Second, you are celebrating a truly massive, genuinely once-in-a-lifetime occasion, a huge anniversary, a milestone birthday, maybe a proposal, and you specifically desire and can afford that one night or two of absolutely uncompromising opulent glamour, the Michelin star meal, the suite with the sea view, the whole fantasy package.
The big splurge for the big moment. Makes sense.
And the third category is simple.
Let me guess. Money is genuinely no object for you.
Exactly. You are already one of the individuals we've implicitly been discussing throughout this whole deep dive. You live in a different financial reality, in which case you probably weren't too worried about the price of the train ticket versus the helicopter in the first place.
Huh. Probably not. Okay, so for everyone else, the vast majority of listeners.
For everyone else, our final verdict remains. Yes, go absolutely see Monaco, but do it smartly. Enjoy a long, strategic, action-packed full day.
Absorb the unique spectacle. Definitely utilize the free and low-cost thrills like the F1 track walk and the views from the rock. Embrace that unique feeling of being a well-informed spectator in this land built entirely on concentrated wealth.
And then
enjoy taking that scenic, affordable train ride back to your significantly more reasonably priced lodgings in France. Relax, count the money you saved, and appreciate the Riviera sunset from a different perspective.
it's a phenomenal destination to be well-informed about, isn't it? It offers this fascinating, almost laboratory-like look at the absolute apex of global wealth density, exclusivity, and control. You really are visiting a kind of manufactured fantasy land.
You absolutely are. So enjoy the show. Definitely admire the view. It is spectacular. But also maybe take a moment to acknowledge the unique sociological reality of the place. Recognize that true seamless integration into that hyper-controlled, hyper-wealthy existence. Well, it requires something that can't really be bought with a day pass or even a fancy hotel stay. It requires a more permanent invitation to that very exclusive club.
A perfectly put final thought. You, the listener, are now fully equipped with the knowledge to navigate this most glamorous and potentially most expensive of destinations smartly and efficiently. Thank you for tuning into this deep dive into the Principality of Monaco.
We really hope this analysis helps you travel smarter, appreciate the spectacle without succumbing unnecessarily to the spending traps. Until next time, travel well.